Hiya, welcome to LSB Features Radio Channel, where our mission in life is keeping great radio from the past alive. And today we're going to New York City and Imus in the morning. Imus was a radio legend in New York, probably considered the first shock jock, getting to WNBC radio in New York in 1971, left for Cleveland for a couple years in the late 70s when he was brought back to WNBC. He was at WNBC right up to the end and actually hung around when the station flipped to Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Imus was their morning man, and he stayed there for many, many years until 2007 when he got into a little bit of an issue, lost his job, and then a few months later landed the morning show at 77 WABC, and Imus stayed there right up until he decided to retire in 2019. Now, there was a time there back in the 1990s when C-SPAN would bring its cameras and leave Washington and walk away from covering Congress. They would go to WFAN and broadcast Imus's show. I guess they got a lot of positive response because they wound up doing it several times. And I had a chance to record some of these shows when they were on C-SPAN. And in this, you get to see Imus doing the show, behind the scenes. And it's a fascinating watch because you get to see how quick Imus thought. The interaction between him and Charles McCord, and if you stepped on his wrong side during the show, you'd get to see the wrath of Imus live on TV. It was a fascinating watch. So let's go back to the 1990s with C-SPAN and Imus in the morning on 66 Sports Radio WFAN.
This is WFAN in New York. We are an Infinity broadcasting station. It is time for the local news. An awful morning in New York and in this country. But at any rate, it's time for the local news, and it's sponsored by Maxwell House Coffee, which is the official coffee of the Imus in the Morning program, and here with all that stuff now. The local news, and then we'll get to the national stuff in a couple of minutes with Charles McCoy. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning, I-Man, and the national news and the local news blends this morning because there is one overriding story here in the New York City area and across the nation as well, and that is a 747 jumbo jet TWA crashing in a fireball shortly after taking off from Kennedy Airport last night. The headlines involving that are as follows. The FBI says a terrorism task force will investigate last night's crash. Still too early to tell if a bomb downed the 747, which did, though, explode in midair and broke in two, carrying 229 souls to their deaths. It had been bound from New York to Paris. 30 bodies recovered so far. Airport officials in St. Louis have increased police patrols and surveillance in the wake of the crash, of course, TWA headquartered in St. Louis. On board the flight, among the 229, 16 kids, students from Montoursville High School in Pennsylvania, members of a school's French club there. A busload of parents and students now headed to New York from Montoursville. TWA tells Suffolk County Executive Bob Gaffney there were no bags of HIV-contaminated blood aboard the plane, contrary to some earlier reports, and if there was, in fact, tainted blood, medical experts say it would simply dissipate in the ocean and would not harm anybody. Gaffney is urging people not to come down to the area. It is being treated as a crime scene, and there is nothing people can do to help, though about half the boats that are out in the area off Center Moriches in the Atlantic appear to be civilians, rather than authorities. And in other news, 2 executions overnight, both by lethal injection. A man put to death in Virginia for killing his male lover, and Indiana executed a convicted cop killer. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has arrived in Cairo for his first visit to Egypt. He was met by a barrage of insults that were carried there in the local newspapers in Cairo. Now, locally, back to the crash of TWA Flight 800. Though the scene is not within New York City limits, Mayor Giuliani has sent police helicopters, divers, and search crews at the disposal of those heading up the search, and the mayor has been shuttling back and forth all night long from the crash site to Kennedy Airport, where he is now trying to console the families of the victims. Says it's been a very difficult night. Also, Governor Pataki is on his way to the crash scene and was expected to arrive there at 6:30, 28 minutes or so, again, to try to assess the overall situation. So again, if you're just tuning in, a TWA 747 Flight 800 out of Kennedy on its way to Paris exploded in a fireball over the Atlantic off the coast of Long Island. It had only traveled about 40 miles, 229 people aboard, apparently no survivors. Imus in the Morning News Time, now 3 minutes after the hour.
I found I could almost do any lesson I want using coffee cans.
It's amazing how many New York...
You know, if you can get a hold of Brokaw...
The Maxwell House Coffee Company asked New York
Yeah.
teacher Stephen Janowitz
It
about
doesn't...
his most memorable coffee.
My interest would be simply, you know, what he and those morons at NBC News know about this. That's all.
Feet, so you may want to say
But I'm not interested in him blowing me off. Because I'm going to point out to that lack geek this morning, I haven't signed anything. Yeah.
Whether it's conversion of
I mean, that irritates me.
cubic centimeters to
Oh, it's not right
fluid inches,
at
or
this
whether
late
it's
moment
not
to cancel like that.
It comes in handy. I have all these stock problems that
I mean, I understand what this situation is, believe
I
me.
can always get away with drinking the coffee now, which is what I do.
As long as teachers think on their feet, Maxwell House will always be good to the last.
I mean, I'm sitting here with 15 million listeners, and they got 2. I mean, you know, who are they kidding?
Usually low price. The car is the 850 GLT Luxury Value Limited Edition.
Hey, Ashley, would you get me some coffee,
As its name
please?
suggests, it's loaded with
You guys want any
amenities.
coffee?
The kind that routinely add thousands of dollars to the price of a car. But on this limited edition Volvo, you won't pay thousands more for heated leather seats, an in-dash CD player, and special 5-spoke alloy wheels. You don't pay thousands more for traction control,
How do you feel,
fog
man?
lights, headlamp
Feel pretty
wipers,
good.
and a rear spoiler. Instead,
I fell asleep watching Brian Williams, and I woke up at 2:30 this morning, and he was still on. Thanks.
And test drive one before they disappear, along with all the savings they offer. Drive safely.
Hi, I'm Imus in the morning. It's 5 minutes past the hour, and we are live in New York and also on C-SPAN 1 this morning, which, in light of this hideous, horrible tragedy here in New York, not only has obviously it affected this area of the country, so obviously America and the entire world, but so I first tried to cancel this C-SPAN coverage, and then because I didn't know whether it's appropriate or not, because we were going to do what we ordinarily do on this program, which is fairly reprehensible.
Right.
So we've canceled all of that, and we'll you'll get coverage of this thing everywhere. So we had already scheduled Tom Brokaw, and Mr. Brokaw apparently, I had a note on my office door this morning that he had canceled, but I think that somebody over there at NBC News better rethink that.
Probably so.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And
It's not helpful.
It's not helpful when I've just made this deal with MSNBC. How does that helpful?
No, it's not helpful.
Not
at all.
But also scheduled to appear this morning, Senator Christopher Dodd, and it'll be interesting to get his thoughts on all of this.
Sure.
And a little later this morning, we'll talk with Mary Matlin about whatever. And in the meantime, we'll perhaps talk to the mayor of New York City, Rudolph Giuliani, and some other people. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there isn't much to tell you other than what Charles is now going to tell you with our version of the national news here on the Imus in the Morning program. So why don't you do that, Charles?
And the story overriding everything this morning, the fact that a TWA 747-100, one of the earlier versions of that aircraft, Flight 800 on TWA out of Kennedy Airport in New York, exploded in the air and crashed in the Atlantic Ocean just off Long Island last night. 229 people aboard.
When something like that happens, does everybody die instantly?
That's very difficult to say, man. The aircraft had not attained anything even close to its cruising altitude. It was just a few thousand feet high. In fact, only about 40 miles out on Long Island, just off the Center Moriches area, 40 miles from JFK to the east when it went down.
So we don't even know enough to know that, right?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So far, 30 bodies have been recovered, along with numerous body parts. There do not appear to be any survivors. An extensive search, though, remains underway. There apparently were a number of witnesses because this happened around 8:40 last night. At least that's 8:40 Eastern Time last night. That's when it was lost to the radar screens following it out of JFK. Here is one woman and her son who saw the aircraft go down.
My son was standing out on the beach and he says, "Oh, look," and we saw an explosion. We turned and what looks like fireworks that were in the sky. Was the first impression of what you saw. It was like a big white flash, and then all of a sudden it turned into this big orange fireball.
TWA Flight 800 was headed to Paris from New York. It had attained an altitude, as we mentioned, of just a few thousand feet. Witnesses say it took several moments for the fireball to reach the water. Maureen Cassidy is a waitress at a Long Island restaurant where people could see the debris coming down.
As it was coming down, people from the restaurant and patrons that were here having dinner got up and ran over to the ocean side. And they could see, just debris falling, huge into the sea. And when they came back, they just said, call 911, call 911.
The FBI and the New York City Joint Anti-Terrorism Task Force now heading up the crash investigation, at least at this point. Former FBI Director of Investigations, Oliver Revelle, says it sounds like a bomb brought the aircraft down to him.
This just doesn't happen to a 747. It would indicate that some type of explosive device or object was on board.
The official FBI line, of course, as it is from everybody at this point, it is still simply too early to tell if it was a bomb.
No, there wasn't a peep out of anybody in the cockpit, right?
Not any communication at all. Nothing that's to suggest that there was anything amiss. No loss of control, no fire aboard or anything like that. It just simply disappeared from radar screens.
But then they would learn something when they always look for that black box, right?
Exactly.
Because it could be something there, huh?
Yep. It crashed in about 120 feet of water, so one would think that recovering the data recorders would be certainly within the realm of possibility. The word from Jim Margolin, a joint FBI and New York Terrorism Task Force spokesman, National Transportation Safety Board Chairman Jim Hall on this, on speculation about the cause of the disaster.
I think it is in many ways irresponsible in light of the little facts that we presently have to speculate about the cause of this accident.
Although the crash site is not in the official New York City limits, New York's Mayor Rudolph Giuliani immediately dispatched police divers, helicopters, and rescue personnel to the scene. They've been there through the night. He himself has been shuttling back and forth from Kennedy Airport and a nearby hotel where the relatives of victims have been gathering, going out to the Long Island crash site.
We will try to do everything that we can to help the families deal with what's going to be a very, very difficult night and a very difficult morning.
TWA, meantime, reminding that its security had been quite tight and continues to be in view, of course, of the Olympics opening tomorrow. All of that heightened security across the country at airports. Here's TWA Airline Vice President Mike Kelly.
The FAA mandates the security levels, and TWA, like other carriers, responds to that security level, whatever it is. I don't particularly want to go into the details right now because that's part of the security program. We follow this security program, and again, I'm not aware of any anomalies in our handling of the security procedures.
Airport officials in St. Louis, which is, of course, TWA's home base, have increased security and surveillance there in the wake of the crash. No decision yet from authorities in Atlanta on whether they will be boosting already very tight security for Olympic travelers there.
Of course, this hysterical speculation tying it to the Olympics and all of that is just whoever you had on there. I mean, there's no way not to agree with them. I mean, it's just hideously irresponsible.
Well, you can't rule out anything, and nor can you rule anything in at this point. I mean, that you're right. That's absolutely nuts.
But having said that, if y'all sitting down there in Atlanta at the Olympics, man, that's just not.
It's very unsettling, certainly. This aircraft, in fact, yesterday had originated in Athens, Greece, flew over here and had been on a 3-hour turnaround and was going back to Charles de Gaulle Airport and then was due to go on to Leonardo da Vinci Airport in Rome.
I was watching Brian Williams on MSNBC last night and fell asleep.
Yeah.
At around 9:30.
Yes.
And woke up at 2 in the morning and he was still on. And
absolutely.
I thought initially it probably maybe it was a tape replay or something, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Why, he did. Did you see any of his coverage?
No, I did not,
Marvelous.
But he is just terrific. He honestly is.
He is about as big time as you can get.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not rating people's performances covering tragedies.
No, but
having said that,
he handles that kind of thing with a great deal of grace. He does.
So, anyway, coming up this morning, we'll talk with Senator Chris Dodd and just whether he knows anything about this or not, but at least get his feelings about this. The senator, the general chairman of the Democratic National Committee, is already scheduled to appear, so we were going to talk about other things, but
this is now taking precedence.
And also Mary Matlin will be on later this morning, and we had Tom Brokaw scheduled. I My understanding is that it's up in the air at this point.
If they come to their senses.
I wouldn't mind talking to Tim Russert either, by the way.
I would like to.
Like, I'd rather talk to him.
Yeah.
At least you can understand him.
I don't think that's necessary.
No, it's not. Where are the families of these people? At both airports?
At both airports, both at Charles de Gaulle and gathering at places around Kennedy Airport.
Well, hideous.
Oh, man.
The weather around the country is sponsored by the technologically advanced Fujifilm, and buy a copy of USA Today and look at the back of it.
And you'll know.
It's going to be 108 in Phoenix, and it'll be, I don't know what it's going to be in Los Angeles or wherever you were listening to this program, but
it'll be colder to the north and warmer to the south.
Yeah. It's not, we don't have Al Roker here yet. Anyway, Fujifilm sponsors the national weather here in the Imus in the Morning program, and it's coming up on 14 minutes after the hour. You feel better, Fred?
A little bit better. I've been kind of in a haze the last couple of days, but I feel a little better today.
Last couple of years.
What are you talking about the last couple of days? Rich, tell Fred about the new hat idea you have for him.
Well, on the way to work, I had an idea for a hat. I thought you need a hat with a big horseshoe print inside of it.
Real funny, Rich.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Here's the crisis in my life today. I have to go have a driver's license. I have to get my driver's license renewed.
Will you be having a picture taken?
Yeah, and I've been trying to figure out a way to keep my hair curly and poofy.
Did you bring a hairdryer?
Bring a mask.
No, I didn't.
Won't come out on film anyway, don't worry. Send a double, Estelle Getty. She's not doing anything.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
For years, you've heard rumors of a day when you could plug into the future.
Oh, man.
And connect with the world.
Wow.
Well, from now
Horrible.
on, that day is here. With MSNBC, a 24-hour cable and internet news service from
Tom Brokaw,
Katie Couric,
Bryant Gumbel,
and Microsoft.
NBC News and Microsoft bring you MSNBC.
From now on, you won't just watch the news, you'll experience it.
Because now news is a two-way street. And on the net. Say you're watching a story on a flat top. Now you can punch in your income and see if it could pay off for you.
And don't worry, you won't get lost in cyberspace because MSNBC is the future of news from the people you know. People like Jimmy Hawley,
Brian Williams, Matt Lauer, Bob Costas, Al Roker, Stone Phillips.
MSNBC.
This commission is going to be a little tough. He doesn't really have any jurisdiction. The guy at the transit authority.
Where's everybody going?
This month, everybody's going to the Toyota dealer's summer clearance. Toyota's got a great lineup of quality cars and trucks with crowd-pleasing clearance deals. Save now on a new Camry. It was Car and Driver magazine's top choice in a recent family sedan comparison test November 1995. And a low summer lease of $229 a month makes it a top value. Only $229 a month, 36 months, $999 down. With automatic air, power package, deluxe AM/FM cassette, and more. It's only one of the great deals at your Toyota dealer's summer clearance, where everybody's getting a great deal. For lease details, call 1-800-79-TOYOTA.
Out of my way!
For a hot summer sale, your Toyota dealers can't be beat. Visit one today and take advantage of clearance deals on a full line of quality Toyota car and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. If you own a business in New York or New Jersey, here's some important news about saving money on your energy costs. You can now buy natural gas from someone other than your local gas utility and save real money on your monthly bills. Natural Gas Services, NGS, can help your business save money in today's deregulated energy market. NGS, an affiliate of NUI Corporation, is a full-service energy supplier with the buying power and experience to meet your business's energy needs.
Edition of the Washington Post.
If you own a restaurant, bakery, laundromat, office building, apartment house, or any business that uses natural gas year-round, you owe it to yourself to call NGS for a free, no-obligation cost comparison to see how much money your business can save. Call NGS toll-free at 1-800-NGS-4070. That's 1-800-NGS-4070. NGS, the smart way to buy natural gas today.
Call 1-800-NGS-4070.
This is James Earl Jones. I'm just back from a book tour for the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages, where I met Dr. Michael Gloverman. He told me how the book helps him attract more patients and fix more feet.
Podiatry. It's the one profession that you really let your fingers do the walking because your feet are too sore.
For 11 years, he's been advertising in the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages.
He's tried all kinds of different types of advertising, from the Yellow Pages, tremendous response, just tremendous.
His life.
Hi, Warner. Hey, TV. Hey, how you doing, Mark?
Sure, and I said, let's just try it. And now we're still #1 on top.
Advertisers stand by it. Your ad should be in it.
I hate to be trite, but the phrase 9 out of 10 people use it is free.
The genuine Yellow Pages from Bell Atlantic. The heart of communication.
Good morning. I'm Eileen Marchese Cohen for the Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile Fan Highway Patrol. And because of last night's tragic plane crash, we do have some closures. Dune Road is closed both ways from the Ponquag Bridge to West Hampton Dunes, and that's in West Hampton. We also have planes at Kennedy Airport on or close to schedule so far, but we will keep you posted on any changes. L train service is between Lorimer Street and Myrtle Avenue in Brooklyn. Some late running track work there. Northbound Connecticut Turnpike building with a 2-tractor trailer accident in the right lane between exits 27 and 28, and that is up in the Bridgeport area. It's building southbound as a result. Street cleaning rules are in effect. 74 degrees and clear, becoming partly sunny, hazy, hot, and humid. Late-day thunderstorms possible, high around 90 degrees. This report sponsored by your New York Chrysler Plymouth dealers, and I'm Eileen Marchese Cohen for the Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile Fan Highway Patrol.
Imus in the morning. 2020 Sports.
This Imus in the Morning Sports Report brought to you by your local Oldsmobile dealer. This is Warner Wolf for Imus in the Morning Sports. What price glory? The word is the Lakers have now offered Shaquille O'Neal up to $140 million over 7 years, an average of $20 million per year. The Lakers supposedly have offered O'Neal $117 million and will push the offer to $140 million by renouncing the rights to Eldon Campbell. Orlando did re-sign Horace Grant for 5 years, an average of only $10 million per year. And just for the record, 23-year-old Juwan Howard became the first $100 million man signing with the Heat for 7 years. American League last night, the Red Sox scored 3 in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs, beat the Yankees 12-11, after the Yanks had come back after trailing 9-2 in the 7th. With runners at second and third and 2 outs of the ninth, Joe Torre went against the book and gave an intentional walk to Reggie Jefferson, putting the winning run on base. Troy O'Leary then 2-run double tied it. Jeff Fry's single knocked in the winning run. Here was Torre after the game.
We're down, 9-2 and seemingly out of the game, especially with only 3 innings to go, and then all of a sudden, we have life and we get a 2-run lead and disappears on us too.
Yankees left 14 men on base. Meanwhile, the Orioles with 2 in the bottom of the ninth beat the Jays 11-10. Bobby Bonilla, who leads the league in sacrifice flies, won it with a sacrifice fly, so the Orioles trail by 9. Cal 1 for 12 since his move to third base. Elsewhere in the National League, the Rockies, the hottest team, made it 8 in a row, took over first place by half a game, beat the Giants 4-3. The Giants have now lost 20 of the last 24. After the game, Giants' Bobby Bonds on being swept by the Rockies.
They're a good ball club, but I feel bad. It's hard to get swept by this team out here. I don't give who they got on their team. That's crazy.
Barry Bonds speaking very highly of the Rockies. Say so long to Reds owner Marge Schott. Schott has now been banned from Riverfront Stadium offices, her luxury box, and the field. Good. Despite being ordered to give up her control of the team through 1998, it seems Schott sent a memo to her employees last week saying she planned to stay active in the team operations. NFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars have picked up veteran All-Pro wide receiver Andre Rison, and the Dolphins have signed former Jet tight end Johnny Mitchell. First round of the British Open is underway. The last American to win on this course, Bobby Jones, in 1926. And finally, gold medal winning wrestler Bruce Baumgartner has been chosen to carry the U.S. flag in tomorrow night's opening Olympic ceremonies. For Imus in the Morning Sports, this is Warner Wolf.
Thank you very much, Warner. It is 23 after the hour, and we are live in New York City on the Westwood One radio network around the country and on C-SPAN 1. And we had planned a different program this morning.
Entirely.
But with 200 people in the water out there off of Long Island, it seemed highly inappropriate. Now, I didn't even know if it was a good idea for C-SPAN to do this and recommended that they don't, but they didn't have anything else to do, and they wanted to see how we would handle this, and I think that's fine, and I like C-SPAN. I have enormous admiration and respect for Brian Lamb and many of the other people there, and so as a consequence, we decided to go ahead and at least let them, whatever we are going to do,
see how we would
cover this as best we can.
Yes, so that's exactly right.
It's coming up this morning. Well, we'll talk to a number of people who are, but there's really not anything to tell you, is there?
Well,
to recap that just a little bit.
Other than just the essentials of the story, that if in fact you are just joining us, a TWA 747 100 series on its way from New York's Kennedy Airport to Paris, France, exploded midair during its climb to altitude and crashed in the Atlantic off the coast of Long Island last night. 229 people aboard. 30 bodies at last count had been recovered. No survivors, apparently. The plane was just a few thousand feet in the air when catastrophe struck. It turned into a fireball and broke into pieces and was witnessed from the beach and also, in fact, from other aircraft in the air. A lot of people did see what appeared to occur. And terrorism cannot be ruled out at this point. In fact, the FBI and the New York City Police Joint Anti-Terrorism Task Force are now heading up the investigation. And, of course, we will continue to have all the latest developments on this breaking stories that become available this morning. This was TWA's Flight 800 out of John F. Kennedy Airport, bound for Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris, and then was to be extended on to Leonardo da Vinci Airport in Rome. It's all occurred. It disappeared from radar screens last night at 8:40. And so those are the essentials of the story, man. A couple of other things that I can go ahead with if you want or not. Busload of parents.
No, go ahead.
Okay. You could nod.
I guess I could respond. Huh? I was just thinking about that.
Oh, it's horrible.
God. And I hate to fly anyway.
A busload of parents.
Most people, I think.
Well, sure. A particularly melancholy aspect of this busload of parents and students from Montoursville, Pennsylvania, traveled to New York because they fear that 16 members of their high school French club and 5 chaperones were aboard TWA 800 when it went down off Long Island last night. Here's the high school principal there in Montoursville, Pennsylvania, Dan Chandler.
We had virtually every minister in town and Red Cross volunteers and guidance counselors and teachers and other parents and students and just a lot of people that showed up at the school.
The families of the students and chaperones now are being sheltered at a hotel near Kennedy Airport where the relatives of crash victims have been gathered at this point to go through that horrific scene that they've got to deal with.
Hey, Bernard.
Yo.
Why don't you find out if Eileen... if our traffic helicopter, although there are probably a lot of them out there, aren't there? We'll find out if they're going to be out there.
They are.
Oh, they are?
Yep.
So we'll find out if we can talk to them.
10-4.
So, I don't know.
I know,
it's light now on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And so, because they were dropping, I was watching at 2 o'clock this morning on, with Brian Williams. So I mentioned earlier, it's been there all night, man. But anyway.
MSNBC.
Yeah. They had, they were dropping flares and stuff, trying to illuminate the area. But
because it was a moonless night, as it was, which, of course, just added to the various aggravations of trying to deal with it.
But the weather's supposed to be okay here on the East Coast this morning.
Decent, yeah. Mix of sun and clouds and no thunderstorms likely until late this afternoon, so they should be able to get at least a lot done.
What else going on?
A couple of other things, man. A barrage of insults in Egyptian newspapers greeting Benjamin Netanyahu as he arrived in Cairo for his first visit to an Arab state as Israel's prime minister. Arabs angered over Netanyahu's hardline stand. Bad news for Bob Dole from the state where he will be nominated as the GOP presidential candidate. A Los Angeles Times survey shows The former Senator Dole trailing President Clinton fully by 27 points among California voters at this stage.
Did you see him yesterday in that education speech?
Yes, I did.
Looks like they jacked him up with about 8 B-12 shots, doesn't
it? Yes, he was animated.
Because he looked much better, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He really did.
It was a marvelous speech.
It's what he's got to do.
And I understand now that the senator is not going to talk to annoying reporters who ask questions that are frankly none of their damn business anymore, and he's not going to make any off-the-cuff remarks employing, as Frank Rich suggested on this program yesterday, Mr. Rich writing on the op-ed page of the New York Times.
Yeah.
Not going to employ the Marion Barry defense that was set up for these various things. So,
oh, that was funny. Mr. Rich's observation, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
in California, just quickly, 1 in 4 registered Republicans in California say they might vote for Bill Clinton. Mm-hmm. In fact, they are dismayed, over the way that the Bob Dole campaign has appeared to go to this point.
Yeah, but see, it's my contention that nobody's paying attention other than you and me.
Yeah.
And, Brian Lamb, and, Andy Lack and these people.
Because
and all of our regulars.
Right. Because of it being center summer, as it were.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I'm going to Flagstaff, Arizona tomorrow. So
I hear you.
What do I care? So here's the deal. We're at just a minor loss here this morning because we had planned to conduct a normal Imus Morning program, but I just don't think it's appropriate. That's all. So I decided not to.
And I think it was a good decision.
So we just canceled all of that.
It just would have felt entirely wrong.
We canceled my security detail.
Right.
We canceled Robin and Bartlett. We canceled everything.
Yep.
So and we'll talk to whomever we can talk to shed some light on this, though I don't imagine much at this point.
No.
And anything that happens, obviously, you'll
well, we'll have it right here. We'll on our computer.
So Joe Klein wrote the dreadful novel Primary Colors, and I don't care. I like Joe Klein.
The unreadable.
But I don't care what anybody says. This book absolutely was dreadful, and I could not finish it.
No. Probably why I wanted to be anonymous.
And and they had a press conference yesterday, and old Harold Evans, I believe his name is, over there, Tina Brown's husband over at Random House.
Yeah.
Tina Brown's husband. That's enough.
That's it.
Tina's husband.
Mr. Tina.
Mr. Brown over there on that make-work job of his.
Right.
Then there's a quota hire, if there ever was one. Harold Evans, whatever his name is. He's over there, and he has this press conference, and Joe Klein gets up. And Joe Klein's a fine fellow.
Yes, he is.
He writes an okay column for Newsweek, and he's a consultant to CBS News, and he's not a bad person. So he says that he's looking forward to writing more novels under the pseudonym Anonymous.
Please.
And I just laughed.
Spare us.
Okay. And it's not going to happen.
Gee, who could this be?
And here's what I'm wondering. And he made it a point to suggest to all of us and remind us that it was a novel and a work of fiction.
Yeah.
But it was such a thinly veiled account, roman à clef, as they call them.
Yeah.
As my friend Lobster Newberg would call it.
Right.
Of what happened in the '92 campaign. That is jive. You're not going to be able to run by anybody.
Absolutely
if you're Mr. Klein.
Not.
So
rejected.
And all of these accounts of these incidents in the campaign and the life of Jack Stanton, who in effect was a thinly veiled Bill Clinton, apparently were based primarily in truth.
Yes.
Including the black baby incident.
Yeah, all of that, sure.
So my question is then how that, and which is why we all found it fascinating, some of us here in New York and Washington, a few folks in Tucson, Arizona, I mean, I guess there's some of you, or Cincinnati, Ohio, I mean, who cares? And we only found it interesting because we have no lives.
Exactly.
Just political losers, all of us, and geeks.
Yeah.
And I certainly include myself in that.
Dorks and wonks.
Yeah. Basically the deal. So, and because it was wildly successful for that reason, and because we all wanted to know who wrote it.
Mm-hmm. Specifically.
And New York Magazine, although they didn't offer conclusive proof, they did suggest that it was Joe Klein a couple of months ago. And then the Washington Post, and congratulations to many of our friends there.
Right.
They nailed this bad boy down. So.
They did indeed. Mm-hmm. They did indeed.
Do you like it when I employ hip-hop phrases?
I always find that very appealing when the I-man goes into the hood.
Yeah, later on I'll be saying, bust a move. But a horrible, hideous day in this country and for the world, and particularly if you're here in New York. As Charles has just told you, this TWA Flight 800, a 747... What model?
747-100, one of the earliest 747s that flew. The airplane was introduced in 1969, and this particular aircraft first flew in 1971.
So it's 25 years old.
Right, and one of the most reliable aircraft series ever to take the air. So that suggests to a lot of people that there's just no way that a 747 comes apart in the middle of the sky.
Is that an accurate count that there were 217 people aboard and 32 crew? And
yes, it is. 229 in all, 17 crew.
Okay.
That appears to be accurate, even though TWA has not yet released the entire manifest, which probably won't come out until later today, but those are the figures we have to this point.
Well, the figure I saw was 217 passengers, 32 crew members.
Well, all right. Well, then there's some discrepancy, I-man.
Well, I just saw that last night on with Brian Williams. I hate to keep plugging Brian Williams, but that's what I was watching.
Well, and as you said, he was superb, so why not? But why not? He's your little friend.
It does sound suspect. You know what we may have to do, Bernard, is just ban everybody from NBC from this program.
Yeah, no conflict of interest.
So that it doesn't appear that the I-man is kissing up to...
Because it does appear that way to the moment.
Because it does, yeah. So.
You did fall asleep, though, while you were watching. That's not a good sign.
Well, I was dead tired. I was up all day. I had to take my cat up to our house in Connecticut.
Oh, gosh.
Mike Kelly, a TWA vice president, says 212 passengers and 17 crew members. 229 in all.
Okay. Well, we'll talk to, hopefully, the mayor of New York City, Chris Dodd, and somebody from NBC News.
Rudy Giuliani. The mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani, you said Chris Dodd, and I just wanted to correct that. You said, we'll talk to the mayor of New York City, Chris Dodd.
No, shut up. That's what I want you to do. I don't want this to get ugly on television, but shut up. I know what I'm saying.
You shut up.
We're going to talk to the mayor of New York City, and then Chris Dodd, you moron.
There wasn't a comma.
Don't worry about how it was punctuated.
Don't you start. Let's not start this morning.
Smack him, Chuck.
Why don't you just concentrate on getting the news right for a change?
Why don't you just focus on your situation over there for a change?
It's 25 till the hour. I'm going to sum it.
In the morning.
All right. Let me talk to you about the hottest new tennis shoe in the country. They're the new Prince Natural Foot-Shaped shoes, and they're simply the most comfortable and durable shoes available. You have to try them on to experience the feeling. Go on down to any sports chalet store there out in Southern California, folks, or the tennis company in the Detroit area. Just try them on. Prince designed the shoes to closely mirror the real shape of your foot, so it's not a bad idea. And this is not some gimmick like a lot of shoe companies try to run by, but a genuine breakthrough in comfort and fit. The natural foot-shaped concept being copied by some of the biggest names in the shoe business. But make any mistake about that, the Prince Natural Foot-shaped shoes fit the best. They have the best cushioning and are the most durable shoes you can buy. Plus, they're made by Prince, the #1 racket sports company in the world. For the dealer near you, call 1-800-338-SHOE. And y'all get yourself a set of Prince tennis shoes. Might want to buy one of them rackets from them boys, too.
Look at
1-800-338-SHOE.
Imus.
J&R Music World now celebrating their 25th anniversary. Once just a small electronics store, J&R now covers an entire city block right across the street from City Hall in Manhattan. J&R has everything you need from computers, software, home office equipment. Got them TVs going on, videotapes, and especially music. Well, of course. All summer long, J&R will be celebrating its 25th anniversary in style. J&R Music tomorrow will be putting on a free Latin concert in City Hall Park. Across.
What time will that be?
Man, I mean, would you be taking your life in your hands going to that?
Bring your mace.
Hilton Ruiz will be there. I love the Rue Man.
Yeah.
Dave Valentine and Ray Vega.
The Rue Man.
J&R Music and Computer World has only one location, but also has a huge mail-order business. So remember, for true savings, your only true choice is J&R Music and Computer World in downtown Manhattan, across from City Hall. You know, J&R Music and Computer World open this Friday night until 8 p.m. Well, if your car's making a lot of noise, you're figuring, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Well, then take it to Lee Miles. So, when your car is slipping, leaking, making those funny cluck noises when you shift,
Don't like that.
Even if it's an automatic deal.
Very disconcerting.
It could mean it's time to take it to Lee Miles. Now, these folks have been in business for 40 years, so they're fairly reliable. Lee Miles will use state-of-the-art equipment to diagnose and fix your transmission problem. There's some grease monkey there just, trying to figure it out. So if your car's not running the way it should be running, and it's making some of these weird noises, he doesn't have to be a genius to know that your car is probably saying, take me to Lee Miles before I break down in the middle of some hideous traffic jam and then torque everybody off. For the Lee Miles Transmission Center near you, call 1-800-LEE-MILES, 1-800-LEE-MILES.
Me again on my cellular phone on the Parkway to tell you about the latest offer from AT&T Wireless Services.
Who's on 5 there? Anybody?
Mike Breen phoned in. I told him that you're not doing anything, comedy-wise, and he said he'd like to speak to you off the air.
For July 31st, all your evening
How are you?
Do they have the cuts from 5:30 that Warner used?
Everything was right there, man.
Yeah, no, it's just
I
two cuts.
leave it all there.
So if you want free evenings and weekends through the end of the year with the quality and reliability you
I can imagine.
from AT&T, call 1-800-MAX. But if it's sand you want, you don't have to go to the beach. Just find my car. It's the one with the sandcastle on the back seat. AT&T Wireless Services. Technology that sets you free. AT&T.
Contract commitment required. Free airtime for first 6 months in the home rate area. Restrictions, early cancellation, monthly access, and other fees apply.
It's 21 minutes till the hour, and I am Imus in the Morning. Mike Breen, who does sports here on the Imus in the Morning program, has been hired by NBC to call women's basketball for the Olympics and is in Atlanta. Good morning, Mike.
Morning, Iman. Do you miss me?
Well, yeah, I do. What's the mood there?
It's not very good. Everything was all happy and let's get ready for the Olympics until the news came last night. And they have here at the hotel we're staying at, where most of the NBC personnel are, they have a room up on the 25th floor. They actually have an enormous area where people kind of gather every night, watch TV, and talk about what they're going to do the next day. And everybody was just watching the television last night with a very eerie feeling because I'd say the majority of the people have family and friends who are going to fly out here to Atlanta in the next couple of days, myself included, and just obviously a little bit nervous because there's such a security alert around here as it is. Every building you go into, you get checked, and certainly at the airport, the security is very high. And now with this, it's just it's a very, very strange feeling. And
well, you haven't been out. Have you been out this morning?
No, not yet.
So you don't know if they've jacked the security up at all?
No, but I just saw a report that the Hartsfield Airport, which is the main airport in Atlanta, that they're thinking of going up to a level 4 alert for security because it's been talked about so much, the possibility of a terrorist attack, especially out here since I've been out here. And now to have this happen, everybody's just on pins and needles, obviously, but they haven't gone to that level 4 alert yet. But
you haven't asked me for any advice, but let me give you some. If I have a wife, if I have your wife and 2 kids, this thing's going to be on television. Tell them to stay home. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's funny, but before any of this happened several weeks ago when we were making plans, it was in the back of my mind, you know what, maybe it's just not worth it. And now that you hear this...
I don't want to irresponsibly, alarm people, and that really isn't the point. But, for example, the 100 meters, Mike, as you may or may not know, takes about 10 seconds, and they don't have any replays there in the stadium, or maybe they do on some big screen or something. But
there was a guy that was sitting next to me last night who works on the basketball venue, who's originally from Croatia, and he really didn't even feel like talking last night because he's got a number of his family who are going back to Croatia this summer, and the way that all the flights go is from JFK through Paris and then goes on to Croatia. So there's just, a lot of people, everybody has their own different story about it in terms of, family flying out, et cetera, et cetera. Some people have to fly back. And
you said you're in a hotel. Are you in the Olympic Village now?
But we're right across the street from it.
Okay. So have you had an opportunity yet to sense the mood there this morning, or what it was last night? Maybe you just said I wasn't paying attention, but I was trying to pay attention. But
no, last night it's hard to explain. It's just everybody seems very on edge and a little nervous, and it was complete different from what it was prior to the news because again everybody was so pumped up about the opening ceremonies coming up. and everyone's saying the same thing of, boy, was this change things? And I haven't been out yet this morning. That was last night.
Well, the news we have is the news that everybody has, and there is no definitive word yet on what caused this, though there is wild speculation throughout all media that it was a bombing, right?
Well,
there is that wild speculation.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is speculation that it certainly has the earmarks of something that could be attributed to a bomb.
Well, take care of yourself, all right, bro?
All right, bro.
Thanks. Mike Breen from the Imus Morning program, who is in Atlanta, and will call women's basketball for NBC television during the Olympics. Well, you know,
I know it's very difficult to know.
Charles and I fly all over the country all the time conducting this stupid radio program and all of our nearly 100 affiliates around the country. And every time I get on an airplane, it's just... And sometimes if I go through security and they don't check everything as they should, that annoys me.
That doesn't build confidence.
I want them to make me take my cowboy hat off, everything.
I want them to go through my hair like a monkey looking for mites, for crying out loud.
So, I mean, I'm not... man...
That doesn't bother me at all if I get delayed.
I want them to search all the bags, everything.
You're right. I agree. Absolutely, I agree, man.
It is 16 till the hour, and we are live here in New York on Westwood 1 and C-SPAN 1, and have canceled the normal program we would conduct. And we had a number of things planned that we thought would drive Brian Lamb finally over the edge.
Exactly.
And finally, we were going to provoke Brian Lamb to the point this morning that he would throw up his hands and say, I'm never going to put him on again.
Certainly not. And whatever hair remains would have been down around his feet.
And we were also going to send a message to Andrew Lack, the NBC News president, and all of those people who just made this deal with me to simulcast this program on MSNBC beginning September 3rd.
Yeah.
What they were exactly in for, but we're unable to do that either.
And it's a shame.
And the policy would be, let's just say, for example, we were on MSNBC this morning. The policy would be that they would cover this tragedy and not this program, which I think is appropriate.
Totally. Certainly.
Though the rough estimates are that there are somewhere between 12 and 15 million people who listen to the Imus Morning program every morning across the country, which would be significantly higher than those who would be, at least at this point, taking advantage of the opportunity to watch MSNBC.
I don't think that's necessary, man.
It is probably pretty an ugly observation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Well, as soon as we know anything, I know a lot of you tempted to switch over to television and stuff, and that's fine. So, I mean, there's not... Y'all won't look at it. I mean, I think that's what you got to do.
Sure.
But to this point, nobody really knows anything, and as soon as we do, we'll tell you. It's a quarter till the hour here on the Imus in the Morning program.
Imus in the Morning.
There are a lot of good reasons why...
I left my sheet in my office. Let me go get it.
Trying to get somebody from the state sliding door available on the driver's side. A larger family room, 34 cubic space, 7-passenger seating with middle and rear bench, easy out-roller seats, and dual airbags. Remember to always wear your seatbelt. Caravan also has a great new look, whether you're looking at it or out of it. And now you'll find we've added something new to Caravan's impressive list of features. Wow. Absolutely nothing. In other words, 0 down and 0 payments for 3 months to qualified buyers on a great selection of Caravans. This may be your last opportunity of the year to get a great deal on Motor Trend's Car of the Year, Dodge Caravan. Just visit the friendly Dodge dealer near you. 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days on Dodge Caravan absolutely ends August 15th.
If you want to be a mobile-friendly service attendant,
You gotta be a neat freak.
we love to clean the gas pumps,
Bathrooms?
behind our ears.
We're so obsessive, we'll even clean inside your engine.
We shrink ourselves real small, climbing through the fuel tank and...
Joe told you what?
Okay. Actually, we keep engines clean with Mobile Super Plus detergent gasoline.
Just use it every time you fill up.
Washes away dirt from vital parts.
So your car runs better.
And it also helps prevent deposits from building up.
See, without Mobile Super Plus,
But is there anything I can reuse, or do I need to just...
That's bad.
real bad.
Mobile Super Plus helps clear fuel injectors,
Intake valves.
just about.
We used everything. Except we did not use that.
Okay, you didn't
David
get
Broder.
that. Okay,
Oh, we
good.
didn't use this.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Super.
That's why he works here at
Good.
Mobile Friendly Serve.
That's good.
Yeah.
Great service.
Mobile.
That's just your
How can we
local.
help you?
Okay.
Pardon me?
Friendly Serve is available at participating mobile stations. Well, I can't take my eyes off that Cutlass Supreme.
Perfect timing. The lease is $229 a month for 36 months and $19.50 down.
Which my trusty trade-in could cover.
And don't forget the goodies.
Goodies?
That feisty V6, anti-lock brakes, dual airbags.
Hey, hold on.
Hey, don't you come in at the end?
But this is more than a Cutlass Supreme. Right now, there are great leases on everything.
The hard racing Aurora?
The 88 and the Bravada, that neat new sport utility.
Tells everything.
Sorry, time's up. For details, visit your local Oldsmobile retailer. This guy is smarter than he looks. Thanks. Hey.
Hi, honey.
Supreme lease, $229 a month, $24.54 during signing. Payments total $82.44. Must take from retailer stock.
Turn it on.
August 4th.
Call 1-800-717-OLDS for details. Oldsmobile is a proud sponsor of the 1996 U.S. Olympic team.
Turn your little TV on. Oh, we've got a guy who's out there in a fixed-wing aircraft.
At your Buick dealers, time to warm up to cool cash savings.
On Regal, the buy
I got this thing from CBS. They want to, you know the biography thing they do?
Yes, sure.
Well, why would I want to do that? I don't want to do it.
Hell, how what's involved? I mean, would it be a long, involved process for you? Because they're good. I mean, you've seen them.
But
Eileen is next. That the plane has to be out by 54. He works for somebody else.
that's fine. I'll go to him right out of Eileen.
Hey, hang on, Mike. What did he say? Go to him right out of Eileen.
All right, here now, the Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile Fan Highway Patrol, and with all that stuff, my little friend Eileen Marchese Cohen. Good morning, Mrs. Cohen.
Good morning, Mr. Imus, and we do have some closures right now. If you're north on the Connecticut Turnpike, we do have the right lane closed, and now they're saying the left and center lanes are shut down into exit 26 in Bridgeport. A tractor-trailer accident there.
She's going to press briefly in 10 minutes, and then she's going to call up.
Shut down northbound exit 26. Bridgeport southbound building heavily, so make sure you stick with the Merritt Parkway this morning. At the Lincoln, it's 10, the Holland 15, the George 10 to 15 from all of your approaches. We do have street cleaning rules in effect today, and it's 74 degrees under clear skies, partly sunny today, hazy, hot, and humid with highs around 90. On July 19th, see how they run, see how they fly, see how they fled. The new action motion picture starring Lawrence Fishburne and Stephen Baldwin starts July 19th, rated R. I'm Eileen Marchese Cohen for the Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile Fan Highway Patrol.
It's 10 minutes till the hour, and I am Imus in the morning. We are live in New York on the Westwood One Radio Network, and this morning, C-SPAN 1, Rob Langer is in a fixed-wing aircraft for Air Suffolk, I believe, and I think he's on the line. Good morning, Mr. Langer.
Good morning, Mr. Imus. We are directly above the scene in East Moriches, about 7 miles south of East Moriches, where this plane went down last night. We're not able to see too much in the way of debris on the surface of the ocean, but there are a lot of helicopters in the scene and boats in the area just picking up whatever debris, whatever bodies there might be, and taking them over to the U.S. Coast Guard station just off of East Moriches, the coast of East Moriches right now. We're able to see some kind of a slick on the top of the ocean, whatever it might have been the jet fuel or oil from the plane from last night, and that's basically all that we can see from above here.
The water, when I initially watched it last night, the water was on fire for a long time, so which obviously was that fuel. Are there a lot of planes in the air there?
There are about 4 or 5 planes, a couple of helicopters also in the scene circling over it. That's not including the Coast Guard helicopters that keep coming from the Coast Guard base in East Moriches and from the West Hampton National Guard.
How far from land is the crash site?
It's about 7 miles south of East Moriches.
And so, and have they recovered anything yet that you know of, or?
They've been recovering pieces of the plane. From what I understand, they've recovered at least 20 bodies right now, or body parts that might be from the scene, and taken them over to the Coast Guard station at East Hampton. They've also set up a morgue unit over at the West Hampton Linden Air National Guard Base.
Is there any evidence that that they're making an effort at this point to try to recover the flight recorder and all of that stuff?
I'm sure they're trying to do that right now. I think they're mostly concerned now. It's still what they're calling the rescue operation, trying to see if there are any survivors still. They're going to do that until about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then they'll turn it into the recovery stage of trying to recover whatever bodies there might be. They're going to consider at that point there will be no survivors, and they'll be able to recover the body parts and whatever parts of the plane still might be intact.
Well, from looking at it on television and from your vantage point, I mean, does it seem to you that there would be any survivors?
Unfortunately, no. It's a sad thing to say, but I really don't see how there can be any survivors.
Rob, thank you very much for doing this. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Rob Langer from Air Suffolk, who is above the crash site off Long Island. This TWA Flight 800 that went down around 8:40 last night with 200-plus people aboard.
Right. 229.
It is 7 minutes till the hour here on the Imus in the Morning program.
Imus in the Morning.
SNET's celebration of free speech marches on with a summer of free calls up to $75 to anywhere beyond Connecticut. Join the SNET
Thanks, Ashley.
Parade and get free SNET calls to anywhere else.
You know, Ashley graduated here recently from Harvard University.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
She's
and
getting
she's getting the I-Man coffee.
Who barely got out of high school.
I mean, well, what does that say? It says something's wrong with life.
There's your education message.
That's 1-800-671-SNET.
Spend $200,000 going to Harvard, and then you wind up getting some jerk coffee.
1-800-671-SNET. Sign up for free speech before July 3rd.
Bernie, do you want to do any of this stuff? Any of these bits? Is that just...
SNET, we go beyond the call.
Here you go, boss. We'll think about it.
Certain money-saving calling plans may not be combined with other offers. Certain restrictions apply.
Hi, I'm Imus in the Morning. It is 3 minutes till the hour, and as I mentioned, we're in New York and on C-SPAN 1 this morning, and essentially trying as best we can, sitting in a radio studio, not able to see anything, to cover this crash off of Long Island, and Charles will have the local news, and then the national news coming up here in just a couple of minutes and bring you up to speed on all of that. But it is...
Giuliani's coming to the phone right now.
Oh, okay. Good.
He's ready to go.